Hello, everybody. Welcome back to John's Talk Show. I am your usual, not so great host, John. I'm here finally for another great episode on the John's Talk Show podcast. I forgot what episode this was. I think it's episode number 15. We're going to be talking something a little bit more grand, unlike games. There's actually, we're going to be talking about music, and I have a new friend appearing today, and this guy is named Northy, or at least we're going to call him Northy for sake of privacy reasons.
Yes, that is me. I go by Northy or Lenses, whatever you guys might prefer. And I came up with music because I'm a musician boy. Well, ongoing musician boy.
Well,
Yeah.
I am
Thanks
not.
for
I am more of a listener of music, so I don't really know most of the things about music other than
the.
the fact that I just like it.
That's fine. We're not gonna be talking about music theory or anything. We're mostly gonna be. I was thinking of just like what it does to our lives, what we owe to music, that kind of general stuff.
Yeah, and music is basically the most popular out there in the world. It's used in like a lot of things, from as small as intros, like in channels or uh, what was it, like movies, into as large as literally just music itself. And Now, personally, as a music kind of listener, I don't really know much about genres, other than the fact that I can pretty much assume a couple just from listening to them. But it's when you get into like the metal and like the hard rock is when you it kind of gets confusing to me. But yeah, it's it's kind of complicated for me since I'm not really a person that studies it.
That's fair enough, and trust me, even the metal community isn't, even like the rock and metal community isn't sure about what they're deeming what. You can get pretty in depth about labeling bands what you want. Um, so it can get pretty messy, and people think, oh, this band is that and that because they do this and that, and then others will completely devalue what you just said. So it's a mess there too, but there's generally some things that people can agree on. Then that's like, okay, so they're basically this then. And also, first of all, thank you for having me on here.
Oh yeah,
uh,
of course.
I'm gonna have to ask you to narrate a little bit because my Xbox, I gotta change my batteries. I'm recording this. We're in a Discord call, and I'm trying out the Xbox feature, like having Discord on your Xbox. So that's why I
Mhm.
got to change things up. So I'll be right back.
And we're gonna go ahead and talk about something. So, um, now personally, before we get into the convo here, I'm changing things up real soon on here on the podcast. We're gonna be moving towards a little bit more of a calming, peaceful kind of podcast. I'm most likely gonna be adding some background music real soon. So if you guys do not like the silence, do not worry. That will be changed very soon by the start of next year. I'm working on getting some a guy to help me with that. I don't know when that's gonna happen, and I am hoping to add some kind of intro, but I'm not really sure yet. No, there's no visual concept of that either. But I mean, what exactly is a visual concept happening on a podcast? It doesn't make any sense. But it'll just be mainly like an MP3 version. Just had some kind of intro to make this a little bit more polished. Wouldn't that be great and grandy? Even though I already kind of do some additions like advertisements, but those aren't really real. Those are just fake. Yeah, I'm sorry if that disappoints people. I just make those up. I'm sorry. Uh, Technically, in this concept, I could technically just add a fucking advertisement here, but I'm not going to because it might actually not even take that long for them to come back. Um, I think that's pretty much all I'm going to be really adding onto here. That will be happening real soon by next year, so just be patient because that edition will be making this podcast sound very, very lovely. And I also do want to add some more features as well to the sound effects too, so that's going to be really great. Um, I'm not a
All
great
right.
editor, but uh, oh,
Yep, there it is. So I had some technical difficulties, but it is fixed now.
he has returned. Oh, that's
Hmm.
yeah.
You were talking about
Hmm.
how this was calming to people. I recall that, and since we are on the topic of music, yeah, I think you told me you were thinking about adding music to your podcasts too, which I'm a big fan of having like some calm music in the back, which just kind
Yeah,
of embraces the calm mood even more.
this lovely gentleman right here actually was previously just listening to the podcast, and now I invited him. So that's a very interesting. Honestly,
Oh yeah,
at first you're a
abs
listen. At first you're a listener, but now you're a contributor. Contributor. I can't say that. I'm sorry. I'm not that great with English today.
It's all right. Oh,
Contributed.
by the way, for the new listeners, I'm not native English speaking. I am German, so I may have to ask for a word here or two, but I think my English will do. Um, but I may also have some little f ups here and there too.
You really haven't had to ask that much, so I think you're fine since the time that we know each other.
Yeah, I mean,
Unlike me,
I've been
I had to ask tons of German questions because I'm trying to learn German since I am technically part German and I'm trying to become German. Is that even possible?
German is also a very or a rather difficult language. That's trust me, it's a journey, and as a German, I'm not even sure if I can speak the language very well myself either. So we're all here in the same boat with not being very skilled at our native language.
Is anybody even good at language in general? Eh, Nobody is a professional or an expert.
True,
Not even
probably.
not even scientists. You know,
Yeah, probably not even the people that like literally like study it. But this podcast is about music, and
it
you
is.
said
Since when? The
you
creation of it? I don't remember the
well, okay,
podcast.
this episode is I'm sorry, this to clarify, this podcast is not. This podcast is his, and he decides what he wants to talk about. Um, obviously, but this episode is about music, and you said you get a little bit confused with genres, and you don't know a lot of them. I was gonna ask, like, what genres do you know, and
Country.
what do you listen to?
Country is very obvious for me.
Hmm.
Um,
Is it like you listen to a lot in your surroundings?
well, not in my surroundings, but I can pick it up very easily because I have like I think I know like 10 artists that are currently country singers. Probably not
Hmm.
even that much, maybe a little bit more because I just found them on fucking Spotify and I was easily able to detect that. Oh, this is country. It's very obvious, especially considering the lyrics also kind of fit well. um
Yeah, yeah.
I guess I don't is sad music part of a genre? Like I don't know if that's uh,
It can be. It can
what
be the
exactly
like
is
sad
the genre
lyrics.
though? Like I mean I'm talking about like slow music. Mm,
I think there's a lot that goes to defining a genre. There can it can be like what kind of instruments are involved to like the BPM, like how fast is this? Is this a calm song or a fast song? Even down to lyrics. I think lyrics, obviously you won't hear a lot of you won't hear like metal-esque lyrics in the country song. So
Yeah.
I think those are three very big contributions
I know like a
to
couple
what.
use like pianos and some of them ones I'm aware of as an instrument.
Yeah, probably, even though that sounds a little fancy for country, but there's
No,
probably a
not for
welcomed
country,
addition.
for sad music.
Oh, is it like purely instrumental or someone singing over it?
Well, some of them are. Maybe I
Okay,
think maybe
okay.
a couple here and there maybe use violins.
Yeah, so I guess the ones that don't include any singing sort of be like classical music. And I am a bit of an instrumentalist myself. I like listening to music a lot with just the instrumentals. Lyrics are obviously a very big part, and I do enjoy them, especially good lyrics that just resonate with me. But instrumental music can just be nice because I can kind of interpret my own situation into them, and there's not someone telling me explicitly what this is going on about. I can just kind of put myself in there or my emotions, if that makes sense. It's
Feel
not telling me like this is what it's about.
Yeah, I feel bad for those people that are forced to make music even though they're being told to. Just just let them make their own, dude.
Yeah.
They can probably dig out their emotions. Unless you're scared that you don't want them to talk shit about you in their song, then okay.
Yeah, yeah. Um,
I mean, I can
something.
clearly tell that I forgot what was Nickelback. Because Nickelback's my favorite band out there.
Uh,
I've grown up with them. I know that people are gonna probably hate me in the comments, but I'm gonna be like, bro, just shut the fuck up. I don't care about the people behind
no.
it.
Oh, right. So you're saying like you don't care for the people behind it or like what they've done. You kind of just like want to value like the music and the message of itself.
Yeah,
Yeah, because yeah, I guess because sometimes it can music and like bands and whatever can be tainted because of something they did.
yeah,
Um,
yeah.
for some at least. Yeah. Yeah, I think that's a probably a good headspace if you just want to like enjoy the music and reassure yourself that I'm gonna still be listening to this music in 10 years.
And besides, I didn't spend any money on any of the music that I have. I got them for free. So
Yeah.
yeah, that's how I got like so many songs on my list right now.
Oh,
I'm
okay,
still
okay.
working on it. I'm just too lazy
Yeah.
because it takes for
I
fucking ever. It's like you have to constantly like get them downloaded, and you have to put them on a list, and technically I have to put them in an MP3 download. So I had to go to a website that's meant for that, and then you have to keep searching for the
oh.
songs that you personally know. So it's just a hassle and it takes forever.
Mm-hmm.
So luckily people
Oh.
can't talk shit about me about supporting them, even though I didn't spend any money. So bitch.
I guess I guess you saved yourself with that. You saved yourself trouble. Um, regarding Nickelback, since we were talking about metal earlier,
Mhm.
because I'm a big metalhead, um, obviously liking Nickelback is super subjective. If you like it, that's great. If you don't, then that's great too. But it's kind of a meme in the metal community because people sometimes bring up like, oh yeah, I listen to metal, and then they're like, I listen to Nickelback, and everyone kind of just thinks they're more rock than metal. Um, and that kind of became a meme when and there's people like, oh yeah, I love death metal and just like plays Nickelback. Which is here's a funny story. I met someone and we're talking about music too because I love talking to music with people and like hearing their perspectives. And they were like, "Oh yeah, I listen to a ton of metal and death metal." And I'm like, "Oh yeah," just like give me a band or two. And no, they didn't say Nickelback, but they did say Imagine Dragons. So you could imagine my disappointment, which that is like rock at best and just kind of poppy, just kind of like kind of pop music all the time. So I was like, what about this is metal or death metal to you?
Because they probably just don't understand like me. Although I actually know that that's not metal. I swear I've heard metal, and it does not sound anywhere close to that. To Imagine
Yeah,
Dragons
see,
or
so
Nickelback.
you know a lot. Yeah, so you know a lot more than this person.
Though I sometimes forget
Um,
about some genres. Like I sometimes forget about pop. I forgot that that's even a thing, or rap. Actually, I don't even think about rap, even though I listen to rap. So that makes tons of sense. And it's
um,
not even a lot either.
mhm. I mean, the reason why you might forget about pop is because it's kind of a forgettable genre, just because it's so predictable to me, anyways. I mean, there's a lot of people that enjoy music, pop, because it kind of has like an easy to get into vibe, and not always, but no, sometimes most of the time makes for like a fun mood. So a lot of people enjoy that, but I feel like it's just super forgettable because almost every song kind of sounds and feels like the same. Um, that would be my assumption. Um,
Some songs kind of mix between genres sometimes, or is that just me from research?
oh yeah, they like to mix a lot, which is I at the beginning of this episode I was referencing that the metal community just has can never really agree what genre this or that is. Um, there's there's subgenres exactly of metal. Like you'll have the kind of umbrella term metal, and then you'll have thrash, you'll have death, you'll have progressive, and they each have kind of unique things about them. Like death, obviously, most of the time, lyrically, is about death. Whoa, surprise! But it's also really, really fast. Progressive music tends to be more kind of philosophical. It's a lot about like deep, thoughtful topics, and the music tends to be very technical. But you can have a band that sings about death a lot and is really fast and super technical, and people will start calling them progressive death metal. And whoa, all of a sudden you made a fusion genre, I believe it's called. So it gets really, really, really deep. Only if you really want to, though, because at the end of the day, for the average Joe, knowing like the umbrella terms is all you really need.
Yeah, um, that is true.
If it's and I think like generally like if whatever you're listening to, just if you like it, then that's perfect. Like you don't need to know like the genre or the instruments being used or what key the song is in or whatever. It's just as long as it makes you happy, as long or like not even like as long as you can say like I like this song for multiple reasons. It can make you happy, can help you through like sad times. Just I think that's the most important aspect of it.
Well, I'm pretty sure that's like the reason why music is so popular is just because of that very reason. Like it's just a huge emotional thing that's used everywhere, whether it's
Oh yeah.
culture or just emotional or um, for entertainment. So it's just
Yeah.
a lot of reasons,
It's
especially when it
interesting you
comes to
mentioned.
intros and like
Oops.
movies too. Like that's like, it just adds some like extra spice on top of it, so it's not just a it's just a silent intro with nothing on it. So
Yeah, and you just kind of get like right into the movie with like absolutely no warning. It's just here's the action.
usually when the movie does start out with like a silent intro, usually that means that something is not good or something is not good starting. Like it's just very dark, sad kind of movie. Or maybe the music is there.
Yeah.
It's just very silent. It's kind of slowly progressing until eventually it gets a little bit more tense. Well, like, just be
Yeah.
creative with that, I guess.
Usually. Yeah, exactly. Usually, especially in like big things like movies and or games, but especially movies, where everything is just planned down to the nitty-gritty detail. Um, if there's no music playing, then that was the intent. There's probably to get your focus onto something else.
Unless we want to talk about shit movies, then that's a different topic.
Yeah, I mean, if you got like shitty movies, um, that just couldn't afford music, then that's another thing.
Or
But
they place music in the wrong fucking scene. Like, what
or
if
they
we
like
put
recorded with their
tense?
Nokia.
What if we put tense music in a scene that isn't even tense? It's
It's like when you're like in a game and like everything is calmed down, but the song is like you kill all the enemies or you moved on, you got a checkpoint or whatever, and the music's just like super tense. It's like, all right, everything's done. You can chill out.
Unless it's a scary game that is using tense music, then it just makes you even more tense because you feel as though you didn't kill everything. So now you're just scared.
Ooh, yep. Yeah, music is very powerful and just like the way it makes us feel or it can make us feel. And I use that obviously I use music for the emotional aspect. Uh, I can sometimes I feel like I can influence my own mood a little bit by choosing what songs I want to listen to, but that's not always the case. I can listen to the most angry like metalcore out there and sit there with a frown, and just like admire the instrumental music. But whenever I'm like overflown with an emotion, I know like a couple of songs that I want to go to, and almost kind of intensifies that mood. But I can just, for me personally, sit down and kind of confront this feeling. It's like I'm upset, I'm angry about something, someone did something shitty about it, and I'm just gonna listen to something really, really angry, and it's gonna just empathize with how I feel in that second, and it's gonna help me relax a little bit at the end.
Yeah, and when it comes to for me, when obviously I told you, but since I'm entirely based off of emotions. The thing is that when I actually find a genre that my brain likes, I more go towards comfiness. Like if my brain doesn't really want to listen to it, it's kind of like, yeah, switch the song. I just kind of go through until eventually I find that correct feeling that kind of fits, and
Oh,
it's kind of just comfiness. How well it fits at the current mood that I'm in.
yeah. Do you mean like if you're playing your playlist and like the song you just listened to is over and you start like skipping through songs, like you listen to the start and you're like, nope, nope, not that one, not that one.
Pretty much, yeah.
I experienced that too, and I honestly was never sure what that is about. If it's, but it probably is tied to like what mood I'm in now that I think about it. Yeah, oh,
Maybe.
that's interesting.
Yeah. Now that is going into the rabbit hole of brains and the very complication of how brains function, which is so complicated that humans have yet to discover how the fuck are we alive and why is our consciousness even a thing. So yeah, just that's a lot there.
Yeah. Um,
So I don't even think they
definitely.
fucking understand how music fucking fits into that. Because where the hell does that fucking? How does our brain know what it wants, and how does it know what mood it's like mood it's in? Because there's some moods where like you don't even know what it is based off your consciousness, but your brain knows. So how does it know what fucking music you want to listen to? It's like a
Oh my
delay
God.
between
Yeah.
your brain and your consciousness. By the time you find it, then you're like, oh, I know, I want to listen to this now. That's a. I'm always so
That's
fascinated by
so
it.
true.
I'm always so fascinated
Yeah.
by the brain, especially hallucinations. Like Jesus Christ, how does that work? I have not seen ever. I have never experienced that before. So like, it's clear that I'm very fucking healthy. Congratulations to me.
Um, since you were talking about like the depth or our depth of our brain and it being barely researched, um, which is probably an understatement because we probably have a lot of people trying to research it. It's just so vast and difficult to understand and different from like person to person. Um, but I like the research of the brain would be psychology, and I think in like the last last decade or so, they started researching music too. There was a term for it. Like there was like a scientific term for like the research of what music does to our brain, but I don't remember it.
Well, I
And I
know
tried looking it
actually.
up real quick,
Now
but
that it actually reminds me of a report that I had to do in school, where we had my teacher told the class to research um, whether, well, I don't know if it was music specifically. I know that it was a that my group specifically researched about what music does to people, like what it makes them feel, and whether or not people get distracted by it or not, or if it's actually positive more than good. I meant than bad. It's what's it called? When you basically you listen to music to focus. It was a lot about whether or not people liked music without lyrics or they liked it with, and whether it changes how they feel during like productive hours. So that was a
ooh,
very interesting report, and I was kind of part of the project, but I was more of like a interviewer because I didn't really have much to go for it since I'm not exactly sure where the fuck music goes with me. But I do listen.
right. So,
And a lot of times I listen with music with lyrics, but there are times when I do listen without. Uh, I got Wario World music. I don't know if anybody knows about that, but it has some fucking kick ass music in that. And I started to re-listen to that, from the good old days, and I really loved it. It has no like lyrics in it; it's just pure instrumental, and I like the mood that it brings upon me.
mhm.
And that music has all been
uh,
created for the sake of the personality of the character that you're playing as. That's base and per level, so it's basically the character like personality fit into the music's like theme, which I found was very cool. It's just like how
that
Mario
also
was a similar concept of how they did that. All his music
that
is
also
based off
is-
the same thing.
sorry, I keep interrupting you.
What?
I'm
No,
new
it's
to this,
it's
but
it's fine. It's fine.
uh, that honestly sounds super hard to do to like get
Oh yeah,
just throughout instrumentals, get like a like personify your music to kind of make it sound like this person.
yeah, and I think that's what Treasure did really well with the game. So they did fucking excellent on that because it has a lot of great music, and I can definitely see
Mm.
how fucking it fits with Mario. So
Sounds like I'll have to give that soundtrack a listen then. Um, Even though I technically would lack like the knowledge of what the characters are about, but I kind of want to
Well,
give it a listen
Wario is
later.
more of a greedy kind of character. Like he wants his money back in the whole game. You're basically trying to get everything that was stolen from you. So, and he's kind of like the greedy brother of Mario.
Okay. I wonder what his music then sounds like.
Very fucking awesome. That's all I can
Fair
say.
enough. Fair
And it's
enough.
also very catchy.
Oh,
I'd hum it a lot.
fair enough.
I mean, they heard me a
Uh,
couple times too. Calls.
Wait, what are you?
You heard me hum it in calls before.
So that was what you were humming. I thought it was just kind of random humming.
No, it's
Yeah,
yeah,
fair enough. Uh, you mentioned that little project you did and
yeah. Hmm.
what like music does to people with or without lyrics. It's interesting that you mentioned that because very recently I've made the experience of what I want to listen to at work and what I listen to at home. At home, it's usually it includes a lot of lyrics, yeah. Sometimes I'll listen to instrumentals, of course, just to appreciate like the background, what is happening like behind the vocals. Um, but at work, I think lyrics kind of distract me. And I figured that out because I had like a playlist full of instrumental instrumental metal, and but there was like one or two songs that crept in there that still kind of had lyrics left over. Or it was like a song that I thought was instrumental, and it just had like 30 seconds of lyrics, and the rest of the song is just purely instrumental. And whenever lyrics came on, my brain was just like it was snappy on the lyrics. So I was like, what is he saying? Do I understand this? Uh, it's just I feel like it kind of drained my attention a little bit from my main purpose, which was work in that case.
That actually makes sense. Because your brain's trying to move the music out of the way from what it's hearing and try to understand the lyrics themselves rather than the song. So it's kind of putting a little bit more process power into trying to understand that process
Yeah,
power
yeah.
like computers. Makes a lot of sense.
I mean, I'm in a very far-fetched way. Our brains are kind of computers, right? Kind of.
Kind of, yeah.
Um, where do you find your music? And I think this was kind of I got a little bit of an answer when you said you listen to Wario World, so you definitely listen to gaming soundtracks. Um, is there other music from other games that you listen to?
Um, I had a couple that I liked from other Mario games too, but um, hmm, I don't think I listened to that many that I know
Okay.
of. Some I did
Yeah.
find that I liked from GTA 5 from the radio that they had on there. And
Ooh,
I got
yeah, yeah.
I started to like those too. I didn't listen to all of them on there, but I listened to like a certain one, which is nonstop, the nonstop radio one.
Oh, the Nonstop Pop FM.
Yeah, I had some
Yeah,
radio
yeah.
songs on there that I liked. And
Mm. Yeah, the base of this question was just kind of like where where do we get our music from and why do we listen to it? Because in my experience, a lot of my music is from games. I grew up gaming a lot. Like I did, especially as a child, there was so much involved in my life, from like racing games and everything. My first one was Need for Speed Underground 2, and there was so much rock and like metal included in there that I think that's the reason why I'm kind of fine with a lot of heavy stuff nowadays, heavy sounding metal, because more or less kind of conditioned me a little bit. Um, but yeah, so there like I have playlists full where just like 80% of my music is from games, and I can tell you, oh, this song is from Burnout Paradise. Next song comes in, and I'm like, oh, this one's from Need for Speed Undercover. It's just that's where I got so many of my songs. Um, I guess maybe some family members too. They introduced you to a song or something. Uh, Only recently though, I started kind of delving into music myself, like looking into the metal realm and trying out new things. Uh, So yeah, that's kind of the questions. Like, where do you find the music that you listen to? Where is it? How did it
Um,
enter your life?
well, sadly, I'm not. Most of my songs are not from games. All of mine are from
Hmm.
the radio or finding them on YouTube. Other than that, the rest of it's basically extra, finding it from other stuff, whether it's from movies or I think a couple were actually from movies, and then some others were from games. But usually those are just usually if it is a game, if it's a song that is has it's instrumental, it's most likely from a game. Other ones are usually lyrics, and those are from movies or YouTube. I don't think they
And you said
really
radio?
and radio. Yeah, a
Like
lot of
when
them
you're
were from radio. A lot of them I grew up from radio because we would constantly play some really great songs. Me and my mom and my dad would play some songs on the radio. Sometime and actually, surprisingly enough, my dad gave me some of his songs from his his USB, and he transferred it over to me. And I just found a lot of his songs on there, and I liked a lot of them. And obviously now I'm adding the ones that I found that I liked over my life, and it's basically like 3 times longer than the ones he had.
huh.
I listened to
Yeah.
a lot of one of my life. Basically,
Yeah,
for me,
fair enough.
it's all over the place, just like how I like any kind of song.
I feel like that's the most common way that probably people find a lot of songs. It's just on probably on the radio, the radio, the radio, family. But yeah, for me, games were a big part of my life, so that's how I got a lot of my music and how I found it.
I'm still finding songs that were basically missing from my life that I've ever listened to for like years, and I would find them from like at work. Some songs we play over the radio, and even though it's very criticized about the radio there, because no one really wants to listen about that shit, because they have their own songs, obviously. I would technically still find some songs that I miss over my life, and I like them personally. So, because I found like two recently that I forgot, I didn't even pay attention to. I added them. Well, I didn't add them yet, but I added them to the list on my phone. Miss those
Right.
songs.
Yeah, there's nothing better than like finding an old song that you used to vibe to a lot as like a younger self. Um,
And there are some
I
songs that I would literally pay. I think one of them I would probably pay like $100 if someone finds the song that I've been fucking missing for my entire life. Because I'm
oh
fucking
boy,
I'm having a hard time finding it.
you're gonna have to try and explain to me what that song is after this episode.
Well, you know what it is. I've tried to discuss it with you, and
Oh, so that was the song?
yes,
Oh, okay. Yeah. Um, if okay, so you mentioned you would spend money for music. Here's a question. Have you spent money on music? I know you mentioned that you downloaded a lot of your music, but like have you maybe bought a CD, merch, or
Nope.
something ever? Nope. Still clean.
Only music I've afforded was from um Sterling. He's a you know him. He's a Derg, the man.
Oh yeah, yeah. You told me about him. Mhm.
I spent a couple dollars on some music from him. He's actually the guy I'm
Sounds like a
spending
good
money
investment
for
though.
from for the loop art music, but he hasn't said anything. Well, that's just because he's busy.
And that's fine. We all have very busy periods.
Well, he's very busy. He has a lot of shit going on right now.
Well,
But I am looking forward to having
that's
some loop music on some podcast. That'd be great.
oh yeah.
It's gonna be jazz, instrumental, some music. So
Ooh. Yeah, I think jazz instrumentals would be perfect because they can make for some chill moods.
yep,
It's either jazz or lo-fi that I would have put here.
it's kind of similar to some podcasts I'd listened to, where the actual music they have on there that's instrumental and in loop sounds just fucking perfect. So that's the reason why I want some myself. Just very perfect music, just fit. I have it
Yeah,
constantly on the podcast I've seen. So
mm, I feel like finding that perfect song or two could be a little bit difficult because I know that sometimes whenever I watch like YouTube or listen to a podcast and there is music in the mic, um, I feel like it's hard to achieve that state where you know the song keeps repeating, but it doesn't bother you.
yeah,
It's just kind of in the back and it keeps repeating and repeating, but your brain doesn't really mind.
that's just why you test around with songs until eventually you find one.
Yeah.
That's why I think
Or I guess to just
jazz
have a lot
might
of
work
variety.
very well with this.
I think jazz would definitely add to this podcast. And I generally, I already told John that I think having music in this podcast is great. That's a great idea. She'll totally go for it.
It won't be like clear. It's gonna be very like quiet in the back, so it won't be enough to bother people, even if
Well,
they have
yeah,
it.
yeah. We want it to kind of be there as a soothing background and is it like silences between the phrases and everything, the sentences said. Um, I think that's good background music if it fills that.
Yeah, I think it's better to just get your own instead of getting some from online and risking shit. So
Copyright free music that people are
no, fuck that shit.
absolutely not sick and tired of.
No, I've tried to add that into a fucking stream and that didn't work. So no, I'm not doing that.
Like did you get copyright claimed?
Yep.
Damn, okay. Wait, so they advertised the song as like copyright free and it still did
Mm-hmm.
it?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, that's it. Maybe it's actually just kind of YouTube's system, or maybe it's their choice and it's actually just a lie. But
It's
um,
most likely just YouTube's automation, as
mhm.
usual.
Here's a interesting interesting little question. What is a song or genre that you enjoy, but that you thought you would never ever enjoy, like before you tried it?
uh, Country would definitely be a good choice there. Good answer.
Hmm.
Before, I never thought that they would have good music until eventually I just stumbled upon. Because I was previously listening to Country Roads a while back. I'm pretty sure you know that song. It's pretty famous.
Yeah, yeah. Hmm.
And then Spotify started suggesting other songs, and it took like a bit until eventually I was like, these aren't actually that bad. So that's a whole
Um,
different genre. I kind of just started to enjoy. Not a specific song, obviously. Like I,
yeah, that's fine. I asked for both.
yeah, I just
You could do either. Um, I had a really good thought and it just like immediately slipped away.
Country Roads
Hate when
just
that
fits
happens.
very well because I'm in a desert, and it just reminds me of like the Western time, and it's I don't know why it just fits.
Ah, now I remember what I wanted to say. Kind of a little bit of a psychology-esque thing that people can look up if they want to. It's a thing called mere exposure effect, where um, basically, just like the name implies, just merely being exposed to something can increase your liking or tolerance towards it. Like said, if you don't think you like um, country music, but you're just exposed at it for at work a lot, or you're in a friends group where that's like the dominant choice of music, you might end up like easing up towards it and maybe even finding songs that you enjoy. And I find that interesting that our brain can just kind of we can expose ourselves to something so much to a degree that we kind of start don't minding it or even start liking it to an extent. So
I don't know
that's neat to
why,
know.
but that just brought up another fact about the body: the fact that immune system also grows immune too from diseases. The more that we're exposed to it, the body starts working very high.
Oh yeah, it's like a like kind of comparing it
It's kind of
how
like,
the immunes.
yeah, yeah, pretty much. Oh shit! It just shows how much we still evolve. Our body slowly evolves to this day, and we start to grow ourselves. Immune system starts to grow immune to it, to
Mm,
diseases and various. It also reminds me of another thing, like how my dad used basically. I don't know why he did this in his entire life, but for some reason he never used gloves when handling with fucking cardboard. Well, I learned that was a bad thing. So the difference between me and him, he has fucking Thanos-sized hands, while I have pussy little hands using gloves. And also, his hands are very dry, and mine isn't. Because I learned something. I learned
interesting.
I learned it, little bitch. Anyway,
Right, that
um,
makes sense that the body starts like adapting with the hands.
yeah, his stains are fucking thick, like thick of skin, like layers of skin. Because it's now like a normal scratch on him is like nothing. You need like like a something sharper to like peel through that skin, unlike what we
Right.
used to get. So it's basically the same kind of thing when it comes to music or getting used to things. Is the same kind of logic when it comes to just the body's physical structure itself. The more that we're
Oh,
exposed to COVID, the more that we're gonna slowly be more immune to it. Well, the body's gonna
hopefully.
naturally be immune to it. I mean, obviously, science is still applicable here because obviously we need to be more exposed towards the cures, but that's something that the doctors have to work on. So just trust your nearest doctor, or else you're gonna die. So yeah, that's a
That's
common
the
fact.
moral of today's episode.
Oh yeah, that's the
um,
message. Rely on your doctors more. Stop being a fucking pussy, little bitch. Thank you for stopping by John's Talk Show, you little weirdo.
yeah, why are you still listening? No.
Yeah, why
We
are
love
you
our
still
views, of
listening?
course.
Go out. Go get it. Go to freaking. Go get the vaccine. If you already have one, good job. You get 2 cookies.
Yes. Oh, I didn't know we were dealing cookies.
Um. Uh. We are.
Well,
Did,
now I want cookies.
um. Do you have the vaccine?
Yeah,
Oh, really?
yeah, and I uh, uh boosted myself. Is that a thing? Is
It's
like a
basically
second?
it's just a booster, so it's not really a vaccine.
Yeah, yeah.
It's
Well, I vaccinated myself and got like a booster. So I'm
there.
expecting 2 cookies to arrive soon.
I sent him 2 cookies in Discord.
Yay! Thank you.
I can't send physical cookies because by the time that they arrive there, it's gonna be already melted. So that's not good for you. Unless you want
Yeah,
to,
considering they start in a desert.
unless we're talking about DoorDash, then yeah, I could just basically pay somebody from on that kind of end to just pick up some cookies and deliver it to you. But I don't know. I don't even know if
Just get a
DoorDash
huge
even works
order
over
for
there.
cookies.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Oh
No,
yeah.
probably not.
Wow, DoorDash, you need to step up your game. Be accessible in Germany today, please. Maybe.
Well, I'm not very sure about it, but I haven't seen anyone actually use DoorDash here.
Oh,
Um,
how do you know?
well, because there's a very, very prominent app over here that everyone uses to order food, and none of my friends have that I've like hung out with have used DoorDash to order food in Germany.
Maybe you're just
So
very unlucky.
possible.
I forgot actually that Germany is a very not so much like America where every business is equal. So never mind.
Um, we do like to we do like to copy trends from the US, and this can tie back to the episode's theme of music because whatever kind of music starts popping off in the US is like give it a few months or a year, and it starts becoming a trend over here. Uh, what I'm mainly thinking of is trap music. When that kind of, I'm not sure when that exactly started happening, but I'd say I kind of personally got aware of it in like 20, I don't know, like 2015, 16-ish. And I'd always hear like English examples of it, and then like a year or two later, all of a sudden you'd hear it on the and I'd hear like German traps, like trap songs with German lyrics on them. And I was like, huh, that that didn't take long for to reach here.
Reminds me of how games are basically like sent around the world, like especially from China or Japan. Especially when it comes to Nintendo, like sometimes some countries get it earlier than others, and then other countries get
Oh,
it, later than others. So it's that also is a thing.
like they get it earlier by a day or two, or are we talking like weeks and months?
Weeks and months.
Oh, yeah, that makes sense. I mean, there's also like different versions of games for each country sometimes. So, yeah.
Same thing goes with fucking movies too, especially when it comes to like having to change things around for the sake of a movie going to certain countries. So yeah,
Oh yeah, there's gonna be countries that probably want you to change up possible scenes they're not okay with if you want to sell it there, or just maybe want to appeal to the audience in that country more.
yeah, that's a big thing, especially with music. So is it a
Oh yeah,
wait?
absolutely.
Is it a thing with music too? They have to change it.
I don't think so, really. There possibly could have been an example of it. The only time I think I recall like there being different examples of like pretty much the same song as when they're being censored. For example, I mentioned earlier, the first ever game I grew up with was Need for Speed Underground 2, and it featured a lot of heavy music with some vulgar language and rap as well. And sometimes I didn't know that back then. I thought especially when it came to the rap songs, I thought they had like these like lyrical breaks because it sounded cool. Now I know that they said a bad word that they can't have in the game, then it kind of sounds stupid now that I know the original song's lyrics since I listened to them on other platforms. It's kind of like, oh, my mind kind of sings along. And it's like, oh, here comes that word, and then in the game it just awkwardly cuts out. I'm like, oh, right, this is censored.
They have to try to appeal to kids usually, but I
Yeah, so they can get the lower age rating.
yeah, I don't really like censored versions. I think it's just stupid. As an adult, personally, I don't care. I like
Uh,
the the cuss words because it usually adds to it something different to the
oh
song.
yeah,
So
it can definitely add some weight, but I think I like the idea that to me personally as a child and even today a little bit these like censored versions of certain songs still kind of sound pretty nice. Again, as a child, I thought that was like a stylistic choice to just kind of randomly stop singing, um, and then continue on again. Uh, Obviously, now I know better, but it kind of has its own charm in a little bit. Not to everyone, probably. Most are probably just annoyed by the censorship, and I get that. I was pretty annoyed at. Here's a recent example. Forza Horizon 5 had on their rock radio station had "Bring Me the Horizons." What was uh, I'm not sure what it was. People that play Horizon will know what song that was, but they censored a couple words in that, and some pretty major ones, like in the chorus, like the big part of the song, like this is what it's been building up to, and like two of the words have been censored, and it's like, wow, this song got slaughtered with censorship. It's just barely listenable to me now.
yeah,
So, moral of that is censorship bad.
I agree. Unless we're talking about porn, then that's a different kind of concept.
That is a very different context, yes, and yeah, that's probably the only context where that is fine.
Yeah.
I asked earlier on the question of what kind of music you um, ended up enjoying, even though you thought you wouldn't, and my personal one probably would have been a genre called Vocaloid. It's very prominent in the anime scene. It's kind of like how they will take like an anime character's voice and then probably turn it into like a MIDI, or like basically make it turn each voice into a note so they can make music out of it. I at first kind of thought like it's kind of cringe to me. I don't really like it, but then I found a video and I think it was it's called Rolling Girl. Don't I'm not sure, but that could have been the title of it. I was like, okay, I can kind of see the appeal in this. This sounds unique and kind of has like a it's fast, but it's also like super melodic, like, super melodic. So I was like, wow, okay, that's not that bad after all.
Hmm.
John, um,
What? So I was looking up the song. I'm gonna listen to that after.
Oh, okay. Um, to let the listeners know what the time difference is. What time is it?
Okay. It is 12:54 p.m. Wow, that's a surprise. Not really.
It is currently 8:54 here, so that's a 9-hour difference. It makes recording episodes probably very interesting. I'm gonna try to appear in more episodes, but I can see myself and the time difference getting in the way of that possibly, but we'll see how it goes. What I should maybe let the listener know too is I'm practicing guitar, and I've been for like a year and a half now. I'm not good by any means. I might be an amateur at best. Um, but that leads me to the question of have you played any instruments ever, and or if you magically just could just be really good at at instruments, which ones would you like to play?
Yeah, listeners, reply to that in the comments.
Mm, but also you, John, like, do you think what instruments would you like to be able to play if you could just like avoid all the determination and like the time it takes, the practice? Just what do you think would be like a cool instruments you would kind of want to probably play?
um, hmm, probably the
It's a big
violin.
question. Ooh, I
Drums,
like
I
that.
actually would prefer to learn it over time because I don't want to instantly be good at it. I want to actually like enjoy the time it takes to learn. But violin would definitely be one because I always been kind of curious. I've seen some pretty good violins like Lindsey Sterling. Who's that one? That one girl from Umbrella Academy. I forgot her name. She was another great violin artist that I was like, I'd fucking like to see what that's like. Let's see what's like
Right.
make some good, interesting violin music since I do like it.
Hmm. Yeah, I also want to possibly try drums in the future. I think we briefly talked about it in private. Mm, um, I think I might get like an electric kit just because I don't want to annoy the neighbors with really shitty. Because unlike my guitar that I can just plug in the amp and then have like a headset, or not a headset, a headphone plugged into the amp, so it's just gonna be really quiet and I hear what I'm playing, not the neighbors. I can't I can't like mute drums.
Yeah, but that's what I'm gonna do as well when I ever get one. Just get one of those. It's gonna help because I live in an apartment, so that's obviously not ideal.
Hmm.
Unless I'm purposely trying to get kicked out, and no, I might, I might get one.
That's a good plan B or like something in case you want to just get out of there. I keep intentionally trying not to curse because for some reason I thought this I'd have to try and to avoid cursing, but you said bitch earlier, so I'm just gonna have to convince my mind that it's okay to curse.
I don't. I, I mean, me and Sterling did used to like joke around about censoring. Like I would censor about furries and things, but I just kind of let it happen because I don't really care. It was just jokes.
Right, fair enough. Yeah.
joking around. But I never censor cussing because I think that whole fucking YouTube system needs to shut the fuck up and just let us curse. It's fucking YouTube 13 plus. What's the problem? Or you fucking 7 year old on YouTube plus fucking seven the regular YouTube? Why aren't they fucking on YouTube Kids? Huh?
I was about to say we got YouTube Kids, so why is that a problem?
I don't even understand why there's restrictions on fucking YouTube 13 plus. Like it was fine before until eventually the mothers were all fucking complaining. So mothers, if you have a problem with my
Mm.
cussing, well guess what? I have 5 fingers and the middle one is for you. So yeah, enjoy that as a response.
Nice.
I'm just gonna say that whenever they tell me that in the fucking DM or fucking email, I'm just gonna tell them that. There you go. I don't need to fucking talk to you about that issue.
Well, you also don't have to worry about advertisers. I guess this is, yeah, it's kind of annoying though because like the people that want to try and make a little bit of money off of their videos, it's just they either have to use like goofy as like abbreviations of words and or just straight up like censor with a beep.
Like a Fuki Wookie or a Nuki or a Suki if you want to suck me. All right. Or do you want to suck my dick? Well, guess what? Now it's Dicky Wiki.
Sucky wucky.
We actually have some pretty good
Woo
words that
notices
we
your bulgy
can't
wulgy.
use. Oh God, I remember that video. I need to send you that. There's a video. I remember.
By the way, dear listener, I'm a professional degenerate furry, full time. No, we're not really, but I don't mind being labeled furry.
Technically, I always think that furry is just a broad genre, and oh God,
It really is. And you can, there's other like, I
furry is
guess
just
in
basically a
quotations
sub
fandoms that you
of
can
yeah. Hey, you're gonna watch that after.
kind of like music has a main genre and subgenres and fusion genres. Whoa, it's all coming full circle today, huh?
What? What?
Good. I'm saying like furry as a subgenre or maybe like as a main genre that harbors subgenres. It's kind of like music
What do you mean
with
furry's a
having
subgenre? It's a main genre.
I kind of would have thought it's a main genre and you could have like other fandoms and stuff.
Furry's
It's
based
probably a
around the fact that you're
subgenre.
interested in furry-like entities,
Yeah.
which pony is basically the same thing, just viral-like. You know?
Yeah, exactly. So it is as example essentially bronies would be a subgenre of furries
Yeah.
essentially. To me anyways, bronies are kind of like diet furries.
Wait, who?
Bronies are essentially diet furries to me,
Oh, yeah, yeah. Yeah, that's true.
as an example.
There's a lot of different features in MLP.
Yeah, but since the fandoms have kind of spawned subgenres of each other or things, it's kind of like music, how you have that main genre, subgenres of a metal example, and then you have fusion genres of metal and hardcore fusing together, and you get metalcore, and it's like
What's the main
it's all
genre?
coming metal.
What?
Like if we're talking about metal, that would be the main genre, the umbrella term, right?
Then what's the main genre of all songs and music? Is it just
Oh
music?
no, 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 that's no. I was just limiting it to metal. There's
Oh,
no, there's no. I guess the umbrella term for well, music would be music, and then you'd have metal as a subgenre, and then all sorts of subgenres of metal as a subgenre, and all that jazz.
That's
No
getting
pun
very
intended.
that's very complicated. And you
And
got
life is
metal, then you got
complicated.
yeah, you got me there.
It all seems so simplistic on the surface, and you can just lose yourself in a rabbit hole and like everything. It just can be games for me. There's so much. There's when like on the surface you can have fun with uh, GTA, just driving around, shooting things up, but maybe there's also an in-depth story with like references in there, and there's Easter eggs. It's like though you can just deep dive into games, and I figured that out with music. There's just on the surface, there's maybe like poppy structures, and then there it gets really, really confusing and hard to keep track of music theory and all that stuff. Um, Everything just kind of seems easy, and we can start thinking of ourselves as, oh yeah, we understood this, and then reality just kind of comes and goes. No, I think it was called the Dunning-Kruger effect, where you get kind of get a little bit of intel of something, and you think you're so smart, and then eventually you kind of realize how little you know.
That 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 sounds exactly like me when I was younger, when I was a teenager, and I was in constant arguments with my dad because I didn't know shit. And he always complained that I'm fucking unsmart. Well, he didn't really say that. He just complained the fact that I was being an idiot because it's really bad claims. So I just open to the fact that I need to be more open. I need to understand, try to learn. So I'm more
I think,
optimistic than I was. So that's good.
yeah, and I think the fact that you acknowledge at some point that, okay, there's a lot of stuff that I still don't understand, and that takes a lot of effort, probably makes you even smarter, at least in my eyes, when you whatever you define as being smart. But we're not going to get into that. But
That's where we
I
go into
think,
the part about brain again. Brain
yeah,
has a lot of concepts
come,
in today's episode, isn't it? That should be
yeah,
the next
it's
topic of
music
the
and
episode. So
music and psychology.
yeah, the
No, I think
brain.
that's a very smart thing, and like
Same.
emotionally smart to kind of realize, okay, things are way harder, or things are a lot more in depth than they may seem on the surface.
Yeah, that just made me realize the fact that the reason why zombies have been theorized to want brains, it's because they're idiots and they want to be smarter, and so they can.
Literally trying to increasing like IQ.
Yeah, trying to adapt because it's a disease controlling the people. So it's trying to get brains to try to get more knowledge about humans.
Hmm.
That's a theory for another day. Because how long
Oh
has
yeah, a
passed?
game theory. Okay, no, let's not get into that.
Game theorist, can you do a theory on us about who
On
we
how
are,
stupid we
where we
are.
came from, where my mom is, why I'm about to die, why life sucks? That'd be great. Also about music
Why
too.
did I
That
feel everything of that?
I don't know. That's what. That's just the
Nice.
okay. We have been recording for 114 minutes. So I think that is
What?
plenty of time for today. Music is a very large thing, so there's a lot of things to talk about from here and there, and yeah, there's probably even stuff that we haven't even touched on. So
Oh yeah, definitely. That's could have stretched for eternity, basically. But yeah, thanks for having me on here. I'm definitely want to try some more episodes and see if I can kind of get settled a bit.
Yeah, well, we are getting into the month of November, so there will be a time in which we will talk about some nice Thanksgiving dinner. And also, Black Friday is coming up very soon, so that's also great. Which is not great for
Ooh,
me since I
okay.
work at a store, so that's a nightmare.
Ah, yeah. F for all the market employees.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah, you'll do it.
yeah, this has been great. I did not come with this, whole discussion because I am very unprepared now. I'm trying to do other stuff because I have a lot of things I'm supposed to be doing and try to get out of the fucking house. I don't like being here or the job. It's a very sad life, but I'm trying my best.
You're
Everyone's
yeah,
doing their best. The Dirk's
it's
doing
a
his
lot of things
best.
to keep
You're
track
doing
of.
your best. You're a good boy. I'm a good boy.
No, you. Okay, yeah, okay. He acknowledged he's a good boy. I'm fine. I'm fine. As long as you acknowledge you're a good boy, we can be good boys together with Dirk.
At least he's going upon that instead of saying the fact that he's not a good boy, which means I'm going to get very upset. And you don't want to see me upset, trying to
No, no,
convince
no,
you
no,
that
no.
you are a good boy, because then
I,
things are going to
yep.
get very complicated.
I'm a good boy. I'll be a good boy. Don't worry.
Thank you, horsey. Um, yeah, it's been great topic. I gotta go back to drawing because I gotta get that working on Twitter. Um, it has been great to have you on this podcast. Remember, guys, do not like or subscribe to this channel because if you do, I'm very sorry to tell you, but your next Thanksgiving dinner is going to be a complete disaster, and that will forever be your curse. So, yeah, please follow upon that rule. Thank you guys so very much, and I guess the same thing would apply to Halloween, since I won't say the reason why because that is kind of contradicting upon the thing that I don't want to really do. So yeah, just avoid both Halloween and November. You know, just don't subscribe. So yeah, thank you
Don't
guys
do it.
very much. Yeah, and I will see you guys all in episode number 16, which I have no idea when that's gonna happen because I am at this point very inconsistent. So see you guys all later. Say goodbye, my friend.
Bye.
Yeah.